10 exactly. Allow me to let you know that we shall be recording this session. My name's Christine Senteza. Apologies, we cannot share the video now. I cannot switch on my camera. There are some technical issues. It has a black screen. But I'm hoping, though, that many of you have been able to meet me at one or the other interaction at the IEC. So before we proceed, I just want you to confirm with a thumbs up in the chat, or you can put an emoji whether you're able to hear me clearly. Just put a thumbs up. I want to see those thumbs up, then we can begin. Perfect. I can see people are able to hear me loud and clear, so we shall begin. This is very good. We are beginning our attendance today with 31 enterprises. As I said, the team from the IEC comprises of myself, Christine Senteza, and we have also Sandra Tiwanje, with whom you were collaborating and receiving the invitations, and also Daniel Edebua, the M&E lead, who will also be facilitating this session jointly with me. So kindly keep your mics muted. Even the facilitators shall keep on muting your mics, but please ensure to keep it muted and keep your cameras off so that we have a seamless flow today. Today is the final session of the onboarding. Here at the IEC, we've already onboarded 2 cohorts on Wednesday and Thursday. Today is the final session where we are onboarding you as participants for the IEC Bespoke Capacity Building Program that has been designed particularly for SMEs like yours. The session today should last between 2 hours and 2.5, but I'm thinking if we are not a large group, it should take much less time. And the objectives are to ensure that you as new participants are properly onboarded at the end of the day. At the end of the session, we want to make sure we have a clear outline for you of what to expect in this capacity building program. What are the requirements? What is outlined when? What the IEC commits to do for enterprises like yours, and then we shall wrap it up. Let's have a look at the agenda, and then we can kickstart the discussion. So as mentioned, we shall have a sustainability moment and additional welcome remarks for this meeting. Then we shall review the IEC programs and services. We will then deep dive into what the capacity building program looks like and the training roadmap, and also let you know what the requirements for graduation for your enterprise shall be. We want to introduce the business diagnostic tool in detail, as it's an important aspect of this capacity building journey. And thereafter, we shall have a Q&A session and end towards midday 30. So that's our agenda for today, people. We welcome you all, and we thank you for making out time today to ensure that you also benefit from the IEC Bespoke Capacity Building Program. Yeah, let's kick it off with a sustainability moment, which is a standard agenda in the oil and gas sector. We usually want to ensure that the enterprises we work and deal with are safe and secure, and it's regular practice for us to share tips on how you can stay safe and secure, and also how you can adopt sustainability practices. So today's sustainability moment is towards the rainy season. We want to bring to your attention and caution you to always stay attentive and cautious during floods. So never attempt to walk or swim or drive through floodwaters, as this is extremely dangerous. Where feasible, please turn around, and also try to move to higher grounds if the floodwaters are rising. It's important that you stay away from damaged buildings, as their structures may be compromised, and also the floodwaters may contain hidden hazards. So please, people, mute your mics. mute your mic such that we can have a seamless discussion. And I'm also requesting that the facilitators keep muting the mics of people who join, because then they have they lead to a not so wonderful experience to the other people. Okay, so do not touch power lines and do not walk in water, and also use a stick to determine the depth of the water where you're walking. This is it for our sustainability moment. We also encourage you to adopt this practice in your companies, because it keeps the employees safe, and it also makes sure you and your company are adopting the right sustainability strategies. So thank you very much. And with that, we can move to the discussion about the IEC. The IEC is the Industry Enhancement Center. I'm not very sure if any of you have been at the Industry Enhancement Center before. It's located here in Kololo along Ngabo Road. However, the center was mainly established to make sure that enterprises, Ugandan enterprises, are able to benefit from the oil and gas sector. What do we mean here? We want to make sure enterprises are able to submit high quality bids, and then also they're able to obtain information on the oil and gas sector. So what are the opportunities? How can we apply? Where do we apply? And also go on to win tenders in the sector. We want them to win and high volume contracts in the sector. That's the overall mandate of the center. The center is funded by TotalEnergies. So TotalEnergies funds all programs and services of the IEC together with its joint venture partners, CNOOC Uganda and UNOC Uganda. So all the services you receive here are free of charge. You do not have to pay to attend our capacity building programs, because the TotalEnergies and its joint venture have already taken care of this. So it's worthwhile for you, when you meet them here and there, to convey your gratitude, because all programs and services of the IEC, and this program in particular, is funded by TEPU. Okay, so what's the IEC about? The IEC has five major components. We have capacity development, we have business advisory, and also access to finance, plus best practice events, and resource center. Okay. All right, allow me to pause and request for muting. Facilitator, please stay vigilant to mute people as they join. We want to have a seamless experience. And people, please be kind enough to mute your mics as you join the session. Okay, so we have components such as capacity development. We have the business diagnostics. We have business simulation. We have short oil and gas courses. We have technical trainings. Now, the session today is going to expound a lot on this component of capacity development. But I will tell you briefly about the business advisory. We undertake coaching and mentorship for enterprises that require services here and there. We do facilitation for joint ventures and partnerships. We do standardization support and certification support. We also support in enhancing your access to finance and markets. We also dwell deep on access to finance and ensure that you have available to you the financing opportunities and the investment readiness arm. We also look at to make sure your businesses and establishments are attractive to investors. We promote financial linkages and partnerships. We have collaborations with not only banks, but also non-commercial entities, and also perform financial advisory services. We have best practice events, and perhaps some of you have participated in this before. These are quarterly supplier development workshops that we run on a particular theme. So we look out for issues in the sector that require some kind of input and awareness and capacity building. In the past, we've had training and capacity building within a workshop setting on issues like health, safety and environment, access to finance, taxes, in particular reference to VAT. So depending on the theme, we usually put out an invitation to bring to your attention these sessions so that you can attend. The networking sessions are also set on a regular basis for you to benefit and meet fellow SMEs, interact, attract new customers, secure business partners, share business cards, share business opportunities, excuse me, and also try to leverage and synergize with enterprises in a similar sector like yours. So when we move to the licensee and supplier development workshops, the IEC usually hosts tier 1 contractors. They also have workshops at the center to which you're also invited, and these are also communicated in advance on relevant themes, and we can invite you to take part and participate in these. Okay, so last but not least, the IEC is also a resource center, our hub, whereby we have both an online and physical center that brings together SMEs, so you can walk in. Okay, I was just giving it a minute. Giving it a minute for the noise to go down, but yeah, the resource center is open for you. We are located, as I said, along plot 12, Gabo Road, and we need you to make us busy. So kindly come to us anytime. We are able to serve you. So that's it about the components of the IEC programs and services. We also have a lot more information on our website. I'll put this in the chat, and please feel free to visit our website because we have a lot more information and opportunities are posted on a regular basis on our website. We want you to navigate the site, familiarize yourself with the different tabs and pages, because we post all new opportunities in the sector for you to apply for on our site. Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so we are here today to learn about our capacity building journey. That is the main purpose of the meeting today. We want to know what to expect, what is entailed in the program. So what we have here on display is the capacity development roadmap for SMEs at the center. Now, we know and are aware that all of you are here today because you received a call for applications to which you applied. I must tell you already and congratulate you naturally that you are among the chosen few. We had a vast number of applications, over 500, but could only select a few enterprises that met the IEC objectives and requirements. They were very stringent. We are looking at a number of factors. So the fact that you are selected, we have to really congratulate you because it was not easy. And the next step now is to take you through a business diagnostic. We are going to explain this in much detail, but for you to note that the IEC is very key on providing services and programs. It wants to provide a capacity building journey that has been customized for your enterprise. We do the diagnostic to make sure we understand all the particular needs and requirements of each enterprise. We do not want to generalize and make assumptions. That's why we are doing a diagnostic, kind of an assessment to understand what your particular enterprise requires and how we can support you. also tell you about technical trainings at the center that we've lined up for you. Upon completion of these capacity building courses, we shall have some enterprises selected to go through a coaching and mentorship. You must note that not every diagnostic result requires maybe follow-up and review. So for those that require further hand-holding, the center is available and shall remain open to coach. So the end of the process shall be wrapped up with a graduation, and during the next slides, we are going to take you through the various aspects of each of the capacity building steps. So to continue ahead is the first step, that is the call for applications, whereby we've highlighted that you were selected under a stringent exercise. Please note that we shall be onboarding 300 enterprises per year. So you are part of the first cohort of 300 enterprises. We've already onboarded 2 cohorts yesterday. So today is the last onboarding session for this cohort, and we intend to start our capacity building journey over the subsequent weeks. For example, you've attended the onboarding session today on Friday, 25th. The next session we shall invite you to shall be on 30th, that is next week already. I'm trying to alert you. Next week on the 30th of April, we are going to invite you for another online session to do the business diagnostic. How that shall be done, don't fret, we are going to take you through the BD process itself, what to expect, and how you can participate more meaningfully in this process. So for now, let's move to the next slide and let you know why we are doing the business diagnostic itself. Okay, thank you, people. And so the business diagnostic is the first step on our capacity building journey, as you've seen. The overall objective is we want to perform a diagnostic, or rather an assessment, for each particular enterprise. So for every enterprise that applied, we want to make sure we perform an assessment to see and identify what are these companies' strengths, what are these companies' weaknesses, what are the areas of inefficiency, and what are the areas that can be improved upon. Why do we do this? We do this particularly and basically because we want to improve your experience in Uganda's oil and gas sector. We want to make sure when you submit bids, you're able to submit very high quality bids. We want to make sure when you submit bids, they are actually turned into contracts. And the capacity building intervention we want to provide should be customized for your enterprise. There is no way we want to say and assume that, okay, all enterprises that have enrolled require training in bid management or contract management. No, we only want to assess and know that company XYZ requires support, requires coaching and mentorship. These are the actual reasons why it's not winning bids. It has done ABCD, but still no luck. This is what we want to turn around. We are not doing the diagnostic on behalf of any third party. It's actually for learning and planning purposes. The good thing is we are going to avail this tool for you to self-diagnose. That means that you can use this tool at a consistent and regular basis for your own enterprise. You can decide to self-diagnose at home and see, okay, let me take stock, let me see how I am performing in light of maybe certain changes that I've done at the company. So we invite you and encourage you to be as accurate as possible as you're filling out the tool. Remember, we are going to take you through the tool. At least you're going to have an introduction to the tool such that you can know how to fill it out. It's a rather simplistic tool that requires clicking yes or no, but the second session of this meeting shall dive deeper into how to use the tool for your purposes. So remember, we want to customize your learning experience at the IEC. That's why we are beginning with a business diagnostic. So let's move further ahead into the training programs that we've outlined for you. We have the foundational course. This course will be offered to enterprises that are rather new to the sector. Enterprises that are just wondering, oh, I've heard about the oil and gas sector. What is it? What are the opportunities? Who are the key players? How is the sector structured? How can my company benefit? Where is the money? Those are the questions that we want to address in this course. So it shall cover current opportunities. We shall have keynote speeches and input from sector experts to let you know what are the current opportunities for each session, how to apply, what are the eligibility requirements. And with this, we would be sure that you're able to understand and start making bids and start making applications and responding to expressions of interest. So this course has been earmarked for enterprises that are rather new, all those that require a deeper understanding of the oil and gas sector in Uganda. How have we structured this course? So we've structured this course to be a 2-day intensive training. Most of our trainings at the IEC shall be intensive trainings from 9 to 5 or 9 to 4. So please take note that we want to have your attention during this time, your complete attention. We shall have various training methodologies. We are targeting senior executives, all people who are able to make decisions within the organization. For example, if we see an opportunity, you're able to kickstart the discussion and respond to the expressions of interest. The training methodology for this course, is similar to the training methodology for all the courses at the center. Some of the courses we offer shall be physical. So we shall require you to come to the IEC in Kololo along Ngabo Road. Whenever we issue information for a physical training, we shall provide you with a Google Maps and a pin and directions for you to reach to us effectively. Then there are circumstances where the training or capacity building session may be online. Case in point is the session today. We're having it entirely online. And I think we have to say big up to technology because it's also a very effective transfer of knowledge and skills method. So where it's online, we shall let you know and send you the appropriate link and guidelines in time. Then it's also possible that we shall have hybrid sessions. This will mean that in instances where we have SMEs at the center, we can also have expert input via online. So we are all attending the session at the center, but then we have a key expert input that is online. We just have to log in for them to speak to us. It could also be that we open up the discussion to an online attendance. While some of us are at the center, we have additional people attending online. So we have a mix and match. And at the center, we don't have a one size fits all. We tend to stay flexible and are able to adapt to various circumstances as may be required. You may be wondering already how many people to send per session. This is a very key question. What we usually do is for the physical trainings, we usually have room for one representative per company, and this we would let you know because of definitely resources, and we also would want you to nominate the person who is most capable and suitable of enhancing knowledge transfer, skills transfer to the organization. Someone who is able to cascade the knowledge further down the organization. For the online trainings, we can invite as many people as possible. Of course, we can manage the numbers because we need to give you feedback here and there. And for the hybrid, it's would be usually open to all because then it's a key expert input and we have room and allowance to let as many people in. So the mode for each course shall be communicated in advance and we shall let you know how to and what to expect. Back to the foundational course, as I mentioned, we shall be introducing the sector, the upstream and midstream sector. So if you want to know what opportunities, what is the regulatory framework, what are the policies, how do I become an oil and gas supplier, what are the challenges, how to navigate, and what are the possible solutions. So this is something to expect for the course. And as mentioned, for those that are rather new to the sector and require deeper understanding of the sector. So up next, we have the business simulation. That was the second step on our roadmap. The business simulation is rather a practical method and means of learning. So what do we mean by a simulation? Under the simulation, we shall have participants come to the Industry Enhancement Center. We have set up learning stations. We have set up computers with the necessary software. You don't have to carry a computer. And in this setting, each of the participants will have the opportunity to run a virtual enterprise. So you become the CEO for that day, and you're able to make so many decisions you've never been able to make in your life. For some of you who are not here in managerial capacity, you're able to hire staff, you're able to buy new equipment, you're able to furnish your offices, you're able to take a wide number of decisions within a learning framework that are able to be simulated and give you results. So for example, you may make certain decisions, investment or managerial decisions that may have a huge impact on your organization. It may either lead you to winning or losing business, customers, winning or losing market share, winning or losing staff or clients. So this simulation is done in a risk-free environment. You don't have to be afraid of losing any real money, and it supports learning in a practical and innovative way. This is for growing enterprises that are still struggling with setting key performance indicators, modeling their business processes, generating process logs, and setting industry benchmarks. So this simulation at the IEC, we shall use a software called SimVenture. Feel free to research about it, but during the sessions, we shall let you know what exactly to expect, and yeah, we are looking forward to simulating with you. How shall the simulation be structured? It's similar to what we had for the foundational course. So other than the, let's move to the next slide, please. So other than the fact that the simulation shall be held as a physical session, it will be an intensive 3-day training. We would expect you to come to the center, and the main modules here are setting up your business context for sustainability, managing business operations. We shall look at sales and marketing, and also research and development. Okay, so let's move on to the next courses, and these are the short courses. The short courses have been designed at the center to address particular issues and thematics that we think the SMEs in the sector are still struggling with. We've had wide consultations with industry players. These include the Tier 1 contractors, the international oil companies, industry associations. We've had key experts in the sector give us feedback that according to our observation, SMEs are struggling mainly in these areas. So we've prepared course and content for you to already enhance your capacities and prepare to start winning. On the lineup, on our menu, we already have bid management, we have contract management, we have joint venture management and partnerships, we have access to finance, we have access to markets and diversification, risk management, and environmental and social safeguards. Now, this is what we've lined up already. But when we do the business diagnostic exercise with you, we expect and also anticipate that there may be additional areas that we require to build capacity in. So we have left out space for us to identify additional training areas. If, for example, during the diagnostic, we have a very big percentage of enterprises saying that we are struggling with getting food safety management systems, we are struggling in logistics and procurement and supply chain management, the IEC wants to remain flexible and responsive to ensure that we at least meet your expectations during this capacity building roadmap. So most of the short courses are designed to last 3 days from 9 to 4 p.m. Remember, the methodology could be physical or could be online or hybrid. We shall let you know so that you're able to plan in advance to get to the center on time or to check out your technical settings and procure enough data to be able to attend the session meaningfully. Then other than the short courses, we also want to offer technical courses to you, mainly orienting around the ISO certifications. We've already mapped out 3 ISO standards that we shall handle in an integrated manner. So we shall do the integrated management system that covers the 3 management standards. That's occupational health and safety. That's the 45,001, the 14,001, the EMS, environmental management system, and the 9,001, the quality management system. So needless to say, if there is demand for any other technical trainings as per that business diagnostic, we remain responsive. But what's unique about the technical trainings we are offering, we also have technical trainings that shall be spearheaded and offered by the Tier 1 contractors. So who are the Tier 1 contractors? Let's see that in the next slide. The Tier 1 contractors, these are contractors in the oil and gas sector who have contracts, who have business, who are implementing, who have been contracted on behalf of licensees and international oil companies. So the structure in oil and gas is such that the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, together with the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, they regulate the sector, and they have contracted and licensed certain operators like TotalEnergies, like CNOOC, like UNOC, like ECOP, to undertake oil and gas investments in the country. So whoever is being subcontracted by these international operators is a Tier 1 contractor. And these are by law mandated to deliver trainings under the IEC Bespoke training program. So we could have sector-specific trainings like maybe drilling, 3D dimensional, scanning, name it. These are really sector-specific and highly technical courses that each of the Tier 1 contractors shall enhance the capacities and skills of local Ugandan enterprises. This is done to ensure a knowledge transfer, to ensure that we Ugandan companies are able to learn from international oil companies and also enhance our capacities. So the IEC shall coordinate these trainings, and also we shall determine who needs to attend which training based on the diagnostic, based on your sector, and based on your demands. And a schedule for these trainings shall also be issued. So you should know well in advance the time, the requirements, and whether these technical trainings are something for your enterprise. Some of the notable Tier 1 contractors we have in the country include CNOOC, McDermott, SLB, EnviroServe, BTS, Motor Angel, to mention but a few. There are quite many more, and we will have them on our menu to give you these sector-specific trainings. Okay, so moving on, we note that a few selected enterprises, based on our analysis and diagnostic, may require coaching and mentorship to fulfill certain aspects, to fulfill some action plans. And during this phase, we shall have various formats of coaching. We shall have group coaching, we shall have peer coaching, we may have one-on-one coaching sessions to really make sure you maximize benefits from the capacity building program here. So not everyone, as you may note, not everyone may require the coaching and mentorship, but we shall make sure that whoever requires it, at least we have an outline of how to achieve this. Then after the coaching and mentorship, when you remember our capacity building roadmap, you would know that we have come to our SME graduation. That means come a certain point in time, in this case September 2025, we want all of you to graduate from the IEC Bespoke Capacity Building Program. So graduation shall happen upon completion of certain aspects, which we are going to outline for you. But just please just stay on that slide. Graduation shall happen upon completion of certain aspects. It is expected that upon successful completion of the journey, so this is how it's going to happen. Once you've been onboarded fully, this is today, we are going to complete the onboarding with you, and we hope that at the end of this session, you fully understand what the Bespoke training program is about, you know what to expect, and you know where to seek further support. So next week, we shall have a business diagnostic exercise. We're going to look at that tool, but then we shall dive deep and let you self-diagnose. Like, we shall use that tool in a live session. We shall have breakout rooms and sessions. So you'll be asking us, how do I complete this? Remember, it's a simple yes and no tool, so it should be simple. And after the business diagnostic, we shall expect you to come back to do an action planning exercise. We need to look at your results and then strategize and plan and say, based on the assessment, you may need to attend courses A, B, C, D to make sure you thrive and prosper in the oil and gas sector. We shall also set forth some action plans for you to fulfill. And upon completion of certain aspects in this action plan, you would then be eligible for graduation at the IEC. We want to offer, we want you upon graduation to receive a certificate that is credited to the IEC, and our current efforts are to rally and advocate that all oil and gas sector players in the country recognize this certificate as a certificate of excellence, as a certificate of merit, to ensure that they consider and shortlist you and pre-qualify you for the various opportunities, because by the time we are done with you, we are sure you will be major and resilient oil and gas sector players. So what do you need to graduate? What are the requirements? To graduate, you must attend at least 80% of the courses that we've stipulated for you. If, for example, we say, this for sure, the business diagnostic is mandatory. To move forward, we must assess, we must diagnose, and then identify what needs to be done for you to move ahead. So that business diagnostic is mandatory, but we can identify 3 additional courses based on our menu and say maybe you require to do bid management because you've not submitted a successful bid before. And secondly, you may need to manage risk or also enhance your financial management skills. With that, and upon completion of that, we would then shortlist you for graduation. So you must complete all mandatory modules. If a course has mandatory and electives, you must complete all this. And just to manage expectations, who can attend the training? You can nominate the most suitable person. So for an HSC training, you can send the HSC manager. For financial training, you can send the finance manager. For a general business simulation training, you can check in with the business operations or chief financial operations officer. Just be aware that whoever you send to represent your company for a particular training must be able to replicate and upskill learnings and also complete the assignments that are foreseen for each assignment. So whoever you decide to attend, we've had questions in the past. Can I send an intern, a graduate, or a graduate, something like that? We say if they're able to complete assignments and enable skills and knowledge transfer, if they're able to cascade it effectively and also rally action for the action points in the action plan, then gladly so. As mentioned in our capacity building programs, we also host and have supplier development workshops and themed networking events. So you must attend at least 2 of those also. When you come in for a supplier development workshop twice, then you are shortlisted on top of all the other graduation requirements. Okay, so our D-Day is set for September. Sometime in September, you will know in advance. We shall be sure to share a training calendar once we've ascertained who should attend which courses. We also want to manage the schedule. We appreciate that you're busy enterprises, and we shall try to minimize the training exposure. So with that, we come towards the end, actually to the end of the first session. We thank you very much for your attention. We are now 63 participants, and we invite you to use the meeting chat to pose any of the questions. If you require further clarification, something was unclear, you require me to repeat some section that you were unable to grasp or capture completely, remember there is a recording of this session in case you only were able to join in late because of the network or a certain issue or another. We have a recording of this that we are going to share after the workshop. So once we share this, we shall also share with the PPT the presentation from today's discussion. We shall be able to share the PPT. So don't worry after this meeting, but we also request you to register through our online link. We request you to mute your mics again. And so we kindly request you to register. Let's take a moment for the mics to be muted. Okay, so as we are saying, the link is going to be posted in the chat again. Look out for it. If you're unable to click the link, you can also scan the code. And once you register your attendance today, we are going to share with you all the course material from today. And that shall also include the BD tool that we are going to look at in the next session. So the PPT, the BD tool, and also the recording from today's session. So the chat is open. Please feel free to ask and seek clarification for any of the aspects that were unclear, or where you require further deep dive. The chat is open, and we are really looking forward to your questions. We are eager to support you. Okay, the meeting chat has been shared. I mean, the registration link has been shared. We are wondering, people, where are the questions? Were we so clear that you've completely have no questions, or we would hate to think it's the opposite? Let us know, people. Even a thumbs up would indicate that we're on the same page. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know we're on the same page. Okay, we have a comment. Thank you, Sandra. It's been loud and clear. Okay, clear so far. Well done. Okay, so far we have compliments. Keep them coming. But at least we have a question. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the introduction. For clarity, are these sessions free? Yes, 100% free and sponsored by TotalEnergies with its joint venture partners. Okay, this has been a very good session. It is very clear. Thank you. So after registration, what are we supposed to do next? This is a question from Hillmark Fire. Okay, so after registration on the link, we have then confirmed that you attended the onboarding session. And with this, we can proceed to shortlist you for the next activities, which we mentioned to be the actual BD tool. I mean, the actual BD exercise that will happen next week. You're going to receive another invitation from Sandra. In case you missed this communication, you'll receive another invitation. You'll receive another email from the same email, Sandra, to you, inviting you. This cohort will be invited back on 30th April. That is, I think, Wednesday next week. We shall have an online session to go through the BD tool that is going to be introduced immediately in the second part of this session. Okay, thank you. So from Judith, we have a question. Is this training only for companies who have never worked in the oil and gas sector? Certainly no. It is a training that's open for both companies that have applied before and worked successfully in the oil and gas sector, and also for those who have applied and not been able to win. Actually, we are really interested in enterprises that have tried to apply before and failed to win, because then this is where our magic and medicine comes in. We want to turn that narrative around. It's also open for enterprises that are completely new to the sector and they want to find out what's new, what's happening. And as explained in this presentation, the foundational oil and gas would be a very good fit for this. Okay, moving on to the next question from James. Please more clarification on ISO certification. Thank you for that. So ISO certification is part of the technical trainings that the IEC shall offer. We shall have training commence with a gap analysis. The way the ISO training is structured, it's really standardized, and we shall follow this standard protocol for training. We shall have a gap analysis done, then commence with a 5-day training for the lead implementers training. Secondly, we shall have another session of training for the internal lead auditors training. So after you've learned how to implement the standards, we would take you through an additional session of auditing. Then we will have a certification audit. At this point, it is at the moment still not so obvious that the IEC shall completely fund the certification fees for the company. We are still having internal deliberations and also trying to engage various partners to fund the certification. When it happens, it could be on a cost-sharing basis. We could have partners on board that are willing to entirely take over the certification. It could also be that our funders, TotalEnergies, are committed to funding the certification. At this point in time, we are unable to provide clear detail, but at least our trainings shall get you at a point whereby even if you chose to certify on your own, you're eligible for certification through a third-party audit, because you would have made sure that all non-conformities are closed out and you're really ready for certification. Okay, thank you for the questions. Eric is asking, missed out on the educational level of the participant. So educational level of the participant, we said, depending on the particular theme, we advise that the most technical person attends. If it's a health, safety and environment training, kindly send in the HSC manager. If you have none, send the operational manager. If you have none, attend as the CEO. If all fails, then get in touch to us, because this person should be able to understand the concepts, should be able to pass down the knowledge to the other colleagues, should be able to fill out templates for that course and do the assignments. If we, for example, have an exam after having attended a contract management course, you should be confident that this person is able to pass the exam. You also don't want to send an enterprise that is not going to get the marks for you, like will not pass, will require additional explanation. You don't want to leave a mark that, oh, that participant from XYZ was always asking the dummiest of questions, to say, among other colleagues not at the IEC. So feel free to nominate someone that you deem most applicable, most viable to represent your company. Okay, another one from Hillary. Great to know that several people from one company can attend various trainings. Yeah, the reservation here is that for the physical, they may be limited, but for hybrid and online, please feel free to join in the numbers you may want. Okay, thank you, Sandra. It's Christine, by the way, but thank you for the climate setting session. Okay, I didn't know. Maybe then it's indeed Sandra who did the climate setting session, but thank you. I think the climate setting session, okay, I get. On ISO training, will the participating SMEs be certified after? Okay, Frederick, this is a question similar to the one we had before, as explained. we are engaging TotalEnergies because we've realized there is a lot of demand for certification. We are positive this is something they could consider, either fully or as a cost-sharing basis. We shall let you know. Rest assured, we shall get you fully baked in preparation for certification. That's the agenda for now. Okay, thank you. Then we have a question from Wycliffe. Wycliffe, you ask, when will the full training calendar come out? We want to plan ahead. Yes, as much as we would want to issue the calendar already, remember we have a business diagnostic exercise. This exercise is actually a very crucial step for all capacity building interventions because we want to know which particular enterprises are going to attend which particular course. Then we schedule. We have put out a menu outlining very many trainings. You could find, however, that on this menu, everyone needs bid management, everyone needs contract management, and no one needs any of the other courses. That's when we take stock internally and say, okay, let's schedule so many bid management trainings and only one of the finance management. So kindly bear with us. We shall complete the business diagnostic exercise next week. Immediately after, we shall embark on scheduling the courses. And by the time you come in for your, for the action planning, this is when we want to work with you to assign the courses. Immediately afterwards, you should be able to get an indication. After this meeting, you will receive an indication of the next steps. At least before you receive the full training calendar, we shall let you know what to expect in the next weeks. The next engagement, allow me to mention again, for this cohort is on 30th, same 30th April, same time. It will be a live session. And the additional and subsequent engagement, let me briefly check the calendar here, for this cohort will be in May, the first or rather second week of May, I don't know what to call that, and it will be the 8th of May. So mark your calendars for 30th and 8th May for this cohort, and immediately after the 8th you will have a training calendar issued to you based on which courses you will attend, tentatively end of May. So if the course you are attending is beginning of May, you will attend in May, and if it's in June, you will also be able to know. Okay, perfect. Someone called Michael thanks us for the great presentation. So these ISO certifications, are they standalone awards after completion? Okay, perhaps you would want to tell us about standalone awards. What I can tell you already, we are certifying all three standards as an integrated management system. So we are not certifying individual systems. We shall certify the three systems, ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001. So standalone awards, kindly use the chart, Michael, so that we provide the most appropriate answer to that question. Then Friday, Rogers, I have joined the session a bit late. Okay, if you've joined the session a bit late, we have a recording of the session we shall share to everyone who has registered. So kindly make sure you use the link in the chat to register, or scan the QR code and you'll receive a recording of this session. Okay, from Frederick again, secondly, one of the program target senior executives. Could you clarify their level in the organization? Okay, we also clarified here that anyone who is able to make decisions, you may not be the manager, you may not be the executive, but you can make an investment decision or a decision to say, let's apply for this tender. Let's invest time and resources in this tender. Let me delegate and dedicate resources. Maybe someone XYZ, could you start applying for this tender, and I'll provide the necessary support and documentation. That's the kind of level we mean. Anyone who has decision-making power and authority. Okay. All right. We are going to take a minute to mute again. Okay. So further down, we have a question. We already have the Occupational Health and Safety ISO certificate. Are we eligible for IMA certification? Okay, this is very interesting. You already got one system certified. I think here you can apply to attend again the IMS training, because then you would benefit from the 2 additional certifications and trainings. Upon certification, you would need to clarify with the certifying body how this happens, because if your ISO 45 certificate is still valid, I don't know if it's then cancelled and a new one is issued, or you now get a new certification. This we would need to clarify. Kindly allow us to bank it as a question for follow-up, and we would be able to give you feedback when we are doing the action planning as a one-on-one with your enterprise. Okay. Okay, but the session is taking too long to start. I anticipated by this time to have started the meeting. Okay, we are in the meeting. Okay, we are in the meeting. So maybe the message has come in too late. But we started also on time. We started on time, so kindly elaborate. Okay, we want to look at the comment section quickly and then go to the second session. Thanks for an excellent presentation, Sandra. It would be helpful to allow at least 2 people. Yes, we are flexible on this. We are allowing 2 people where need arises and where resources allow. That has been covered. Okay, at least 2 people for the physical training where need arises. We'll take this up with the TEPU to see if they can allow more people, and we shall try to remain flexible. But remember, we have resources availed after each of the sessions, and the people you've sent to represent can share these with you. So do you have community engagement on health issues like HIV and AIDS, peaceful coexistence and prosperity? Yes, I think most of these key issues are covered under our environmental, social and governance safeguards course. So look out for that. We shall deep dive into this. People were asking for the registration link. It's in the link. And from Innocent, thank you for the insightful training. Sandra, your presentation was engaging and informative. Looking forward to the next training. Okay, so we have the comments and compliments in. At this point, allow us to switch to the second session of the workshop. That is the BD tool. We want to dive a bit into it, such that when you come in next week for the BD tool session, you have a very clear understanding of what to fill out and what to expect and which information to prepare beforehand. Remember, keep the questions coming. The meeting chat shall remain open for all of you to keep posting questions. If a question comes up and you think, oh, I had forgotten this, please feel free to put it in the chat. We shall gladly attend to it after this second session. Okay, so thank you for staying with us until now. We now move on to the second session. We want to make it as meaningful and brief for you. We want to deep dive into the business diagnostic tool that we shall use next week. Please pay attention. It has 5 sheets. It's an Excel workbook with 5 worksheets. Some of them don't need to be filled out because they are assessments, automated assessments, but for some you really need to fill out very brief information. Look at, for example, sheet 1. It's looking at collecting company information. Very brief information on the company that we are going to diagnose. What is the company name? In which year was your company established? What is your core business activity? Now, if your core business activity spreads across more areas of focus, you're dealing in quite a number of things, you can prioritize and list for us the 3 core activities for which you want to be engaged in the oil and gas sector. So you can also list for us the current number of employees, both permanent and short-term at the moment, and also tell us your annual business turnover in 2024. If you've implemented any projects in the past, do let us know by listing them here so that we know if we are dealing with a completely new player or someone with a bit of expertise and experience in the sector, such that our capacity building support is geared towards improving or supporting you to join the sector. Allow me to be clear here to note that this diagnostic tool has been prepared for your enterprise. It has no copyright issues. Feel free to use it and share it with other SMEs who would want to make a self-diagnostic but are outside the scope of this project. Also, feel free to use it to take stock of implementation. We want to assure you that the information we collect here is for purposes of coming up with a customized capacity building journey for your enterprise. We want to make sure we value your time. We want to make sure whatever capacity building intervention we give is customized to suit your business needs and operations. The more accurate you are and the more accurate the info you give us, it will enable us prescribe the right capacity building journey. It will enable us understand what your needs are. So we want you to be as accurate and honest as possible. We are not looking for high performers here. We told you already we are looking for the people who are struggling here and there because those are the ones we intend to work with and build capacity with. So that's it for the first sheet that displays and calls for business information. Allow me to already show you the summary of this tool so that you have an understanding of what to expect. So the assessment summary, that is the summary, not the BD assessment itself. Yes. When you look at this summary, we are going to enlarge, no worries. We are going to make sure you're able to read the content on the screen. We are working on that. Yes, we are enlarging. So as you fill out this tool, as we are going to show you, remember it's a yes or no tool. As you fill out this tool, this sheet here will be aggregating the scores. Could we have it a bit bigger, Sandra, please? Yes, let's have it a bit bigger such that the content is legible. Okay, we are working on that. Please remember that as you're filling out the tool, we are having an automation of the results. So we have particular themes we've identified, and this we've consulted widely with sector players like Tier 1 contractors. We've contacted IOCs, industry associations, for them to give us feedback on which areas where they see that SMEs are struggling a lot. So where we see there is struggle, we come in as the IEC to intervene. We already identified 10 areas, that is compliance, operational efficiency, financial health and positioning, bid management, contract management, access to markets and diversification, risk management, human resources, certifications, and if we could scroll down, sustainability and ESG. So that question on ESG was also considered. We anticipated that enterprises require support here. When you fill out the tool, as I said, the results are automated and color-coded. If you receive a score between 0 and 25 on a certain aspect, in this example, for an enterprise, they had 0 for contract management, and they were coded red. So we are inclined to say your performance in this area is extremely poor, and in our view, you require urgent attention. When you score between 26 and 50% on a certain aspect, it's rather poor and also is below average, so we want to enhance performance there too. Looking at an above average performance that is between 51 to 80%, it's coded blue. We recognize that you're not poorly off, but perhaps there is room for improvement in a certain aspect or another. When you look at a score above 80%, we say this is excellent. Nonetheless, We always say that we can't let you go just like that. We want to take that score to 100. We also want to make sure you benefit from other opportunities, because the IEC aims at capacity building for oil and gas and beyond. So we want to build your skills, enhance your skills to not only participate in oil and gas, but also take advantage of opportunities beyond oil and gas. So this is the score. As you fill out, it will be automated, and an average performance. While we have scores for each of the aspects, we shall have an average score. And at the end of the capacity building program, as we do an exit assessment, we shall do a BD assessment again. You self-diagnose again and see if you're able to move from the initial mark to a higher mark. That means with the coming in of the IEC to interact with you, build your capacity, you've attended various events, you're able to improve your score here. This will propel your journey towards a better bidder, towards submitting better bids, towards being more compliant, and will also improve certain aspects that we believe will make your enterprise stronger and more viable and resilient. So with that summary, let's now dive deep into the BD assessment. Let's have a look at the questions. What are the kind of questions and requirements we ask in the BD tool? We are deep diving. No worries about the columns on the right. They are just the scores. What we can concentrate upon are these first columns that really highlight the aspects we are looking at. As mentioned and categorized, we have compliance, and we've subdivided compliance into 4 aspects. We are looking at your legal compliance. We shall look at your corporate compliance. We shall also look at national content compliance, and also look at your HSC compliance, health, safety, and environment. Most of these aspects of compliance are required, are mandated for participation in the sector. Some of them are wishful add-ons. Some of them just make you stand out of the competition, and that's why we have put emphasis on them. To explain the tool here, we have the various themes and matrices, and then the aspects are the actual questions we ask. And then if we could move to the next column that has diagnostic result, when you click on this column, you have a drop-down list. So you're free to select either yes or no. So when we ask, for example, does your company have a valid tax clearing certificate for 2024 in the past year? You tell us yes or no. Okay, we would want to let you know that for many of these aspects, you're very free, and actually we encourage you to cross-check with your respective company managers or supervisors. You may not know whether you have a tax clearance certificate. You can briefly cross-check and say, do we have a tax clearance certificate? They say yes, you tick yes. They say no, you tick no. If they don't have, remember, accuracy is the best way for us to treat any signs and symptoms. And also, if they do not know, if you ask your manager, do we have a valid tax clearance certificate? And they say, what is a tax clearance certificate? Then, in our opinion, in our guidance, please tick no, because it implies you do not have any awareness on this, and also possibly you're not aware of what advantages and benefits it has for your enterprise. So we advise you click no. And as we do the action planning, we shall dive deeper to let you know why you may need it and what are its advantages for you to do a cost-benefit analysis on whether you should pursue it or not. It's also important to note that for many of these aspects that we are asking, the IEC could be in position to support you on the aspect of legal compliance. For example, usually have the Uganda Revenue Authority, we have NSSF and Uganda Registration Services Bureau. They usually come to the Center for Business Clinics, and we should be able to support you in some of these aspects. What we don't mean, however, is for you to quickly run and get a TCC, that is the tax clearance certificate, for purposes of this exercise. We expect you to put a no, and if we do an assessment at the end and we think you require the certificate, then we will advise you on how to get it, where to get it, and what steps you should take. So don't feel pressured to rush and prepare any of the documentation or acquire any of the certificates. That is not the purpose of the exercise here today. So with that background, we also have left room for you to put in any qualitative input and additional comments so that you're able to give us a bit more qualitative insight into the challenges your company may face on these aspects. So as we continue down the rows and the aspect, there is always room for you to tell us additional information and also give us a bit more quality input. The standard, however, remains the same, and the way we answer the tool and respond to questions remains the same. Now back to the tool itself, the questions. In legal compliance, we have questions on the valid tax clearance certificate, and also if you have a social security clearance certificate for last year. Okay, if you filed annual returns with RSB in the past year, click yes. If you've not been able to file your annual returns, please click no. Then we are looking at a question like, do you have an operational permit or license for last year? Please click yes, and if no, let us know also. So with that, we move on to corporate compliance. Here the questions are pretty straightforward. What we are looking out for is either a procurement policy, an anti-corruption policy, an anti-sexual harassment policy, and a data protection and privacy policy. Okay, remember yes if yes and no if no. We move on to national content compliance. National content requires that as many as Ugandan enterprises are engaged in the Ugandan oil and gas sector. So the PAU, the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, does classify enterprises as either Ugandan or not. So please tick appropriately. If you're not aware how you're classified, drop us a message, or at least we should be able to help you. Then, do you have more than 70% as Ugandan employees? If yes, click yes, and if no, click no. If you have a national content plan or national content manager, please click accordingly as may be required. And if you have a value addition plan, any plan that where you think that we buy Uganda or build Uganda, anything of the sort. So we move further down to the HSE compliance. We look at aspects of having an HSE policy, a work certification for the workplace certification for the previous year, and whether you have an HSE manager. Don't forget, we also look out for the qualitative input, whether you have any challenges in becoming HSE compliance, and any additional comments that you deem necessary for the IEC to fine-tune your learning journey at the IEC. Okay, moving on to aspect 2, that is operational efficiency. We look at aspects of process optimization within your company and how you integrate technology and innovation within your company and how resource efficient you are. The questions and the process optimization, we look at whether you have developed an SOP, that is a standard operations manual. So for any of the operations within your company, do you have standard operating procedures, or do you rather implement haphazardly and take things as they go? If you have a manual and handbook, please click yes. And if you have an inventory management system and are able to explain what kind of system it is, whether it's hard like a physical system or software system, please let us know again. Then if you've set place any operational indicators, please also let us know by clicking yes or no. For technological integration, please take note that we are looking at whether you've done any process automations in your company. So if there is anything you've automated, be it in service delivery, if you have robots delivering your food or taking orders, if you're in the food industry, If you have you use robotics for engineering and 3D drilling, you let us know under this section, and whether you have a section of innovation, if you have an innovative strategy in place. The question on innovation, technologies and tools. Okay, apologies for that. We had a very rare break in the internet connection. Not sure why, because everything appeared connected, but nonetheless we were switched off. Allow us to continue. We are going to get back online with the presentation on technology and innovation. So we are still looking at innovation when we were disrupted. Let me have a thumbs up. Let me take a brief moment to have a thumbs up from you to see that we are now still together. Okay, looks like we are still together. That is good. And, you know, I find it interesting that we are talking about technology and innovation, and it decided to make a mark to let us know that technology is important. Yeah, so we continue. So do you have any innovative strategies in place? If you're using Gmail, or if you can successfully log in here to the MS Teams, we don't consider that as being so innovative. But if you have anything that your competition and niche do not have, do let us know, and also list exactly what technologies you have in place. Okay. And if you're one of the few companies that has been able to register and secure a patent or copyright before, kindly let us know with a yes, and where applicable, which patent it was. When we look at efficient resource use, what we mean basically is how are you utilizing energy efficient technologies within your company. So if you have any solar panels, if you use any electrical appliances, all star-rated appliances, please let us know. And if you've come up with any cost-saving methodologies, let me give you some examples. You purchase in bulk. Example 2, you purchase off-season when the prices are low. Maybe you have particular locations or regions where you purchase. Any cost-saving methodologies. Maybe you have loyalty programs with customers that make you reduce your costs. Let us know. We are eager to know more about that. Okay. Then when we move further down the rows, we further look at if you have I just want the question to be displayed in full, whether you have any supplier relationship management policies. So have you secured any agreements with their suppliers to supply you in a framework arrangement? Can they give you goods on credit and then you pay later to manage your cash flows? Please let us know as accordingly, and the qualitative input would always come in handy. Let's move to the third component, that is financial health and positioning. We want to know how you're doing in terms of finances. How healthy is your business? How healthy are your financial management practices? Aspect 1, how do you access capital and how do you generate income? Are you relying solely on the business founder to fund operations? And how are you faring in terms of annual turnover? So according to the Uganda Investment Authority, enterprises that earn above 360 million Uganda shillings per year are classified as large enterprises. At the IEC, we only want to know whether you are in the SME definition or whether you are in the large definition. This is important for us to ascertain the nature and size of your business so that we can customize our intervention to know whether you are small and growing or whether you're rather a large enterprise we are dealing with. Then how do you access finance? Do you access any commercial forms of finance, be it a bank or financial investor, equity investor, angel financing? Do let us know, as long as it's not entirely dependent on equity. Then perhaps you've accessed any sector-specific financing. There's been a call that is financing enterprises in oil and gas. Do let us know if yes, and then list which particular fund. Could be from the authority, could be from PSFU or any private funders that you are able to list for us. Then in terms of financial health, we shall also look at liquidity. During the online session, we shall have a deep dive into what liquidity means. What is liquidity? For purposes here now, it's just the current assets of your company divided by the current liabilities. We are quite sure you may not be able to ascertain your current ratio at the moment. That's why we want you to engage your finance manager or operation officer and ask them. If they do not want to give you details of the ratio, just ask them to calculate and give you whether it's greater than 1 or if it's less than 1. This is a very important financial ratio to know how the company is dealing and how it's operating. So how is it able to pay its short-term debt obligations? Okay, at this point, allow me to highlight also that when we issue this tool to you next week, of course, we are going to give it to you after the session today so that you can familiarize yourselves a bit more with the questions in the tool, because we are taking you through, but you may want to go through again to also seek guidance from your respective superiors to know, okay, this tool shall ask for information here. Do you think we are able to obtain it? And then we shall give you 3 working days to complete this tool. We shall give you 3 working days with a link where you can upload your tool that you've customized and labeled accordingly to submit it after enough consultation and fact checking has been done. So this is where the liquidity you may need to consult. We highly doubt you're able to know whether it's greater than 1 just by the look of things. Under liquidity, you can also let us know if you operated with positive cash flows over the past year and if you perform any periodic reporting. Again, consult with the respective personnel in your company if you're unable to know whether you had positive data for the past year. Okay, let's move on. We also look at profitability. Did you record any profits during last year? Let us know. And if you have any financial management and control systems like a policy, if you have any financial statements and reporting for the last year, whether you had audited books of accounts last year, and if you have any internal control systems, please click yes or no and let us know in the comment section what additional challenges you face for financial management. Okay. We are moving on quite well, and here we come to bid management. It has only 2 aspects, and that is bid management strategy and the bidding requirements. The simple questions we ask are, do you have any strategy to manage bids? Do you have a bid management committee? Are there enough people you've put in place to handle bids, or is it one person handling the looking out for bids, responding to expression of interest, preparing the technical and financial proposal, submitting bids, doing follow-up? Let us know if you have a team in place. Then do you have a bid library? Do you have a collection of often asked documents like a company certificate, NSS certificate, trading license? Are these all in one place that you simply have to attach, or do you have to look for these every time you submit a bid? Then do you have a post-bid evaluation mechanism? You may find that some of the enterprises here have applied for tenders before and have not been successful, unfortunately. Then we ask, have you taken time and care to analyze why you're not winning bids as yet and what you could do about it? This is all we need to know in this tool. For bidding practices, we ask if you have a sufficient resources, staff, expertise, and then you could list for us which resources. Do you have project management skills in terms of a manager, in terms of handling previous projects in the past, and whether you've had any experience in oil and gas that you could list for us. If you've listed this experience on sheet 1 on the business information, you needn't fill it out again. This tool is just to score whether you have any of previous bidding experience. So anyone new to the sector, we expect a no. So if you've participated, are you in position to offer any bid security or bid bonds? Or is this something that usually is difficult for you to obtain? And do you also meet bidding requirements such as submitting in the right format, submitting all necessary documentation, meeting the deadline? And if you haven't submitted any oil and gas tender before, just click no, and we shall diagnose and assess respectively. So moving on to contract management, still there are only two aspects we are looking at. We want to look at the volume and nature of contracts you've managed, and also the contract management practices. So a disclaimer already, if your company hasn't submitted a tender before, hasn't participated, is entirely new, kindly indicate no throughout, because then we are only looking at experience in oil and gas. For other experiences, we shall deep dive during the action planning to maybe take learnings from contracts you've managed outside oil and gas and replicate them here and then adjust your score accordingly. But for now, if you've not participated, then it's a no, because you don't have any contract management experience in oil and gas. And since it's a bit unique and specific, we would want to make sure that you fully understand it and may be exposed to a contract management course for oil and gas. So we look at the volume of contracts and nature of contracts you've won. We ask, for example, if you've applied before for a tender, how many tenders have you applied before? If they are one and you've won all of them, that is a win of 100%. If you've applied for 2 and won only 1, that is a win of 50%. If you've applied for 10 and only won 1, then we know it's a win of 10%. During the session, we shall go step by step to explain to you that if you've won 2 out of 3, that's 66%. If you've won this, and then you click no or yes accordingly. Remember, it's the average volume, average percentage. So it's all the tenders you've applied for divided by the result that you got. Then, most importantly, we want to know, are you operating at the higher end for the contracts you got, or are you at the lower end? Here we want to know, are you a tier 1 or a tier 2? This means, as we explained in our presentation, are you implementing directly on behalf of international oil companies, or are you subcontracted by someone who is operating on their behalf? So, if yes, if you have a contract from TotalEnergies, ECOP, CNOOC, UNOC, then you're a tier 1. But if you're also contracted by someone who was contracted directly by them, then you are a tier 2 contractor. Then please click no. Yes. If otherwise, a no also would suffice. In addition, we want to know what's the volume of contracts you've won. Is it above 500,000 US dollars? If you've won 2 tenders and their average volume is above 500,000, please fill yes. If you've won anything below 500,000 US dollars, then also click no accordingly. For the practices, we shall ask if you've put in place any performance management indicators for the previous contracts you've implemented in oil and gas. We shall also ask whether you have Sandra, please scroll down. We shall also ask questions whether you can easily obtain performance guarantees and which ones you're able to obtain, and also whether you engage any stakeholders or if you map stakeholders during the contract management process. Do let us know if you also use any particular tools, be it physical or innovative tools for contract management, anything that you say is really important that helps you effectively deliver contract deliverables. We move on to ask whether your company has in place any dispute resolution mechanisms for contract management. And further below, we ask if you have any reporting structures and templates. We are aware that some players provide contracts and templates, but if you've also developed something, please do let us know. Yes, let's move on to marketing, and we are almost there, people. We look at market positioning. How have you positioned your business to benefit from opportunities? So, do you have a business plan? Do you have a marketing plan? Are you operating in a niche market? Are you beating the competition with the kind of product you're producing? And do you engage customers through a strategy that ensures their retainment and retention? Okay. Then let's proceed to access to markets. We just want to know what methods you use to attract and access new markets. Do you have any social media channels? If yes, if you have anything like LinkedIn, WhatsApp, TikTok, YouTube, X, please let us know. If you have a website, kindly list the business website, type it out for us. And if you have an export license, please do indicate the countries where you're currently exporting your goods and services to. Diversification is for us to ascertain whether your company is diversifying at the moment by looking at the level and the range of products you have on offer. Allow me to explain a bit. We'll take the example of the company manufacturing chairs as usual. So you could be producing wooden chairs, you could be producing leather chairs, you could be producing metallic chairs. That's good, but not the kind of diversification we are looking at. If you're a furniture company, you could be having the chairs, you could having maybe cupboards, you could be having a carpentry, you could be have a training arm of the company. So how have you diversified? The experts shall deep dive with you. If you're not sure whether your company would qualify as having diversified, we shall be online to support you with you identifying that. So if you're in the service sector and you're also diversifying, maybe you're in the legal business, but you're also offering HR services, expatriate services, training services, then please click yes. In terms of diversification, we also want to know whether you're accessing any regional or international markets, with or without an export license. We just want to know whether your goods reach beyond the Ugandan borders. When we come to any JVs, that is joint ventures or partnerships, we want to know that you're in position and your company is strategically positioned to benefit from the benefits of having business partners and joint ventures, because with this, you're able to reach new markets, you're able to come up with new products and really diversify the product. That's why we have a question on JVs and partnerships. Okay, people, we go to risk management. Here it's very simple. It's the risk management plan, risk register, the risk advisor, and any risk policies in terms of insurance. Don't forget to let us know what major risks your company may be facing. And let's now also look at the HR aspect in brief, where we look at how you recruit and staff your company. So let's scroll a bit up. We shall ask questions as having an employment handbook. Do you have an employment handbook or code of conduct? Do you have an employee record system? Do you have an HR personnel? Doesn't have to be a manager. personnel is enough, and do you have a mechanism to handle employee complaints? Please do fill out accordingly. We also look at the training and development. Let's scroll to the right column. We shall look at training and development, how much you've invested in training and developing competencies of your staff, and if this is clearly mapped out in a framework or matrix. If you've mapped it out, do you have a training plan? For example, this year, do you have a plan of training staff in areas where they are performing poorly? Do let us know as may be appropriate. Then we shall ask for performance management. Do you perform any performance management or evaluation with your staff? And how do you compensate them for the work they do? Do you have any salary structures to make sure it's a fair compensation program? And do you offer any allowances to your staff? And if yes, you list them. We also would want to know whether you have any staff medical schemes on offer to your staff, and if you have any annual performance-based rewards that are given to staff at the end of the year in appreciation for their contribution and support to the organization. Okay. So, as we conclude, we'll look at ESG and the certifications. For ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance, we simply want to know if you have any policies related to environmental protection, such as waste and water management, if you've procured, if you've maybe concluded an agreement with a waste collection agency, for a recycling agency, if you have any Okay. I just need you to give me another thumbs up if we are still together. We are about to conclude. Let's scroll down to social policies as we get the thumbs up in, hoping we are still together. Okay, with the first thumbs up from Irene, I can continue. So we shall also look at social policies that you may have, such as human rights, supply chain management, how you engage the community, your corporate social responsibility, and things like that. Last but not least, governance, where we shall assess if you have any governance policies for transparency, diversity, and gender inclusion. Okay. Then, upon assessment of that, we would also quickly look into whether you are attending any environmental awareness trainings and whether your sustainability action is on point. Have you done any environmental impact assessment where applicable, and do you have any sustainability reporting in place? Are you required, or do you perform reporting to your stakeholders? And if you conduct any emissions tracking within your company, do let us know. Lastly, other certifications, please tick where applicable. So for the enterprise that said they already have the ISO 45001, please do click yes here, and no to all the rest. And also reaffirm the major challenges you're having towards system certification. For any other certifications outside this scope, perhaps you have ISO or any other API on maybe food safety management, you have a certification on risk management, cybersecurity, please do let us know. And finally, while we've taken enough care and caution to explore all the various aspects that you could be facing, we have left room for you to list any additional challenges that you have towards winning bids and tenders. Please do let us know as in much detail as possible. what further support you think we've not listed here. Could be in error in judgment, or because maybe we could have missed it. We want to know, and we want to document it, and we want to plan for it by coming up with additional courses and trainings to support you in this area. So with that, we've come to the overview of the business diagnostic tool. We hope that we've been able to highlight how the tool works and operates, how you can fill it out, how you can work collaboratively on it, and how you will obtain your company score at the end of the assessment. What is important to know is that after we've received your company score and have a summary of it, it is automatically linked to an action plan. Sandra, if we could go to the action plan, we have your company results highlighted in the first columns. So we already know by looking at the action plan that the areas where we need to look with high or medium priority are contract management, financial health, and maybe if we scroll down, we could see another area requiring attention. In this example, certifications. In your example, the issue could be different, and that's why we will map out, Sandra, please up. We will map out a capacity building roadmap for you and ascertain if we, for example, arrange a course for you in foundational course in oil and gas, whether you need a simulation, whether you need to undertake any of the short courses on our menu as we highlighted before. And also in the next column, Sandra, if you could move to the right bit of the sheet, whether you require technical trainings or any sector-specific trainings based on the result of your diagnostic. Now, if you recall, we said that some of the requirements for graduation is the fulfillment of certain action points. In this column, you will work together with your coach in a one-on-one session that I remind you again will be on 8th May for this cohort. You will work together with your facilitator and coach to put in place some action points that are smart, realistic, achievable within the time we've set for graduation. For each action point, the facilitator will work with you and another entity within the company to make sure that we fulfill and close these gaps. If it's a matter of developing a national content plan, we shall work hand in hand with yourself and someone delegated at the company to develop this plan within a specific deadline. So by September, we want all the gaps to have been closed in time for the graduation ceremony. And we want to map out the courses and make sure you complete them, and we keep track of your attendance. So that is it for the sheet. The only worksheet you've not seen is the M&E baseline questions. These are simple questions. We just want to know how you've interacted and benefited from the IEC programs in the past. For example, the IEC website, we just want to know, have you visited the site before? Have you heard about it? How do you frequently use it? Have you ever applied for a tender because you looked at the website? Just to know for the M&E, we want to get the right baselines in place. We also want to make sure we don't take all the credit for you having won bids and tenders. I think there are 2 or 3 questions. They are basically whether you've applied before with help from the IEC or not. If we could scroll a bit down, Sandra. And also whether you've participated in our networking and capacity building session before. So people, that brings us to the end of the business diagnostic tool. At this point, I would want to take us back to the Q&A session, inviting you to put as many questions as necessary as desired in the chat, and also remind you to register your attendance by scanning the QR code. We can maybe stop presenting the BD tool and go back to the QR code and also post an update on the link in the chat. Please do remember that at the end of this session, we are going to share with you a full recording of the session for those who joined in late. And also, we are also going to be able to share with you the presentation that we had in the workshop today. We shall also be able to share with you this BD tool for you to familiarize yourselves with and be able to catch up on the various aspects. The next steps for now, kindly await an email from Sandra letting you know of the next session that will be the BD assessment itself for this cohort, that is 30th April. Subsequently, we shall have the action planning that will require you to come in physically at the center to fill out and do action planning for your exercise. So thank you very much for your attention. Let's now move to the chat and address some of the questions that you posted in addition. Okay, where we stopped, Frederick has opened the chat. On BD, previous experience in oil and gas. Does experience with PAU apply? Yes, thank you, Frederick. It does apply because PAU is the regulatory body for oil and gas. Please do indicate that you've managed a project for PAU before. On compliance, the process leading to registration on NSD was rigorous. Maybe this applies to SMEs that are not yet registered and are engaged in competitive bidding. Okay, thank you for that note. The registration on NSD was indeed rigorous, but remember this NSD registration is only active for a while, so it often needs to be renewed, and it means renewing your compliance aspects because these tax clearance certificates are issued on an annual basis and the social security clearance is also offered on a monthly basis, so you may need to review and renew. And also for this tool, we also want to make sure we include this in the score. So it was already rigorous. We are aware, and we just want to give credit to this rigorous process by including it in the BD tool. Okay. For the rest of the question, there are thumbs up, I think, when the network was interrupted. We have a question from Margaret Nasali. If you are part of a group and the job was won at group level for you to execute at country level, is that tier 1 and tier 2? So Margaret, in this case, you're part of a consortium or a JV that won a tender. Our interest here would be to know who issued that contract. Was it an IOC, an international oil company, or was it someone who is directly contracted by them? So you say our joint venture, which you were a part of, hoping that the JV was mutually beneficial, had won the tender from the IOCs or a tier 1, then yes. If you won it at an international level beyond the scope of the oil and gas sector in Uganda, then you're probably not a tier 1 contractor. It has to be a licensed operator of the oil and gas sector. I'll let Sandra maybe type in the chat who are the IOCs, the major IOCs, such that you know that if you were contracted by any of these or someone they subcontracted, then you are in the right space to be called a tier 1 contractor. Okay, so looks like we've reached the end of the questions in the chat. Please do let us know if you have any additional requests for clarification. We'll give it a couple of 5 more minutes as we await any chats. Even after people leave the meeting, we can still give you feedback in the chat. But at this gesture, do give me a thumbs up if we are still together, and we can have the concluding remarks and summarize the workshop today. Okay, Rancher's Finest. With that, you kickstart the wrap-up session. People, allow me to thank you very much for today's attendance. We had such an overwhelming number, more than we expected, and this marks the end of the onboarding sessions for the IEC Bespoke Capacity Building programs. So what we had today was a an overview of what to expect and how to participate and graduate from this program. We also told you about the next steps and had a major deep dive into an important tool that will define a major process for your capacity building journey and how you navigate the oil and gas sector in Uganda. From the team at the IEC, it has been myself, Christine Senteza, together with my colleagues Sandra Tiwanje and Daniel Deboa. And we thank you. We appreciate your commitment, your time. The fact that you stayed through the entire session is appreciated. We wish you a wonderful weekend and look forward to welcoming you once again next week for the follow-up session. So it's a goodbye from us. We shall leave the chat room open for any additional clarification and close it at exactly midday. And it's bye-bye from us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Bye-bye.